Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bible Illustrated Hands. Today's question comes from James Canyon. He asks, "What are my opinions on the contemporary Christian music?" By that, he means, the modern evangelical sort of type worship music. I'll be quite honest, I don't listen to it at all. What little I was exposed to it didn't really leave an impression. So whatever I say will be simply based on my glancing blow against this sort of music, First of all, I'm not a fan of this type of music, and the reason is that it is based on different sort of mentality and foundation that Orthodox and traditional Catholic music are based upon. And what is that foundation? Well, in chanting, as practiced by Catholic and Orthodox churches and Anglican churches, the point of the music is to inspire prayer. That is all there is to it. That is why it is so sort of has this low rhythm. It doesn't move you to dance because that is not what is meant to do. However, with contemporary evangelical music, it has a very interesting root, and that is Martin Luther. And when he broke off from the Catholic Church, he said, I think it was Martin Luther or it was Calvin, but I think it was Luther. One of them two said, "Why should the devil have all the good music?" What he did is that he used popular tavern music and changed the lyrics in such a way in order to make it, so to say, proper to the church. And there is a reason why that sort of music is devil's music. Of course, I'm not saying about all music, but why did he call it devil's music? Because that sort of music is based on emotions, and that is why there is very little theology in that sort of music. It is always personal feelings. It is always that God loves me, that I love Him, that He cares for me. It basically creates a music equivalent of a child's blanket, something warm, fuzzy to keep you in and warm and safe, and he loves you. And these things are fine, But where's the problem? When you use this sort of music in your highest form of worship, that means that your believers will never advance above this very low tier type of spirituality, which is very emotional, and that is why a lot of evangelicals, when they convert to Catholicism or Orthodoxy, one of their primary a recurring motive that is constantly seen is, "Oh, I was feeling empty," or "I was feeling like God isn't there," and that is perfectly fine. Why? Because when you make emotional drive the primary drive for your prayer, you will get into trouble. It is opposite in the Orthodox Church, and from what I've seen in the Catholic Church, where exact opposite is the case. The less driven you feel to pray, the more powerful your prayer is, because it is easy to pray in the moments of spiritual ecstasy when God is there. That is easy mode prayer. But prayer when you don't feel like it, prayer when you're sleepy, prayer when you have lots of things on your mind and lots of things to do, prayer when you're certain that God is not listening, which is not true, and when you feel like, and if you're wondering if He even exists, which of course isn't true, those prayers are especially powerful because uh, that is the prayers that we say when we go against ourselves, you know. Um, I don't mind this sort of evangelical music, when it is done, so to speak, in private, outside of church contexts. Um, because, okay, why not? Okay, it's fine, it's, typical poppy, happy sort of music, but again, it should be kept out of the church and never allowed to return. But outside of that, it is, fine. I'm certain that there are amazing bands out there. I didn't listen to it, but I will tell you something. When it comes to Satanism, when you think of old people nagging about Satanists, what do you think of first? You think of rock bands who show the horns and use inverted pentacles and upside down crosses and so on. However, uh, when you get to the real deep supernatural Satanism, what do you think of first? You think of creepy people in creepy robes chanting, you know? So even Satanists know that when relevance is important, you use chanting. When being edgy, you use pop, which is ironic. Of course, Black Mass came because of parodying the Catholic Mass, and because it's so, and because saying creepy things in Latin is far more effective than using a satanic version of "Oops, I did it again." Simply chanting lifts us into another realm. Whereas pop music evangelical pop music, that is, tries to draw God within a realm and make him dance. And no, it's not for me. So I hope I answered your question, Jason. Again, these are simply my thoughts. Some people have other thoughts. More strict, less strict, not strict at all. It's all fine. Bye.